Okay, so today we're gonna be falling awake. If you fall asleep, I'll awake you again and again. And awakening is not a process of opening your eyes. Lots of people are walking the earth with their eyes open, but you can sort of see the energies like. So we want to make sure that your eyes are the windows of your soul, and the energy that is in your eyes are coming from the creative energy of this area, the sacral area. So keep that energy moving. If you feel that you are falling asleep or it's too much or my mind is overloaded, just keep spinning. We're all matrix people. I don't need to remind you how to spin your energetic fields. Just go. Create many spheres. Doesn't have to be just one. You're expanded in many different dimensions. This room is just one dimension of your life, right? There is another room in your house where you sleep, and another room in the kitchen where you eat, and there's a room where you work in the house, and then there's another one in your working space, right? So these are all different dimensions. And as we work today, I invite you to be present to all those dimensions. And that's what awakening is all about. Awakening is the understanding that you are not just one little thing in this particular place, geographical or biological location. You're a bigger thing, which is present to everything. So as we work, I would like for you to apply all that I'm talking to every area of your life. So we're going to start with creating a live wheel. So this is your living wheel. Your soul gave it to you. So like, remember what I told you? All right, so that wheel, when you move through life, you might have a very bumpy drive. Yeah? Because every time you move, there is some obstacle. There is something there. Yeah? Kids are not behaving, husbands or wives are not behaving. Employees or employers are not behaving. The health is not behaving. Money are not behaving. These are all bumps on the road, right? And we believe that somebody did that to us. These all bumps somebody created, the kids created, the husband, wife created, teacher, preacher, somebody created the bump. The truth of the matter is not the bump on the road. Because there are some other people driving same road, being okay on it. There are some other people who are already on the curb of the road. So why do we have a bumpy ride? If we say this is my health, and this is my money, and this is my relationships, and this is fun in my life, I go dancing on Saturdays, it's a lot of fun. This is education or mind entertainment. I love my mind to be entertained. What else is important? Kids, friends, family. Anything else important in your life? Travel. For me, I'm giving you my stuff. Anybody has anything separate?
What about job?
Job. Yeah, because job and money might not be the same.
Yeah.
You're so right. Yeah, anything else? Love. Because love and relationship might be different.
Friends and family, kids, it's the same, right?
Okay. So family, kids and family. All right. So if you look at that being 0, tiny wheel, and that being 10, where are you in health? Is it 10? Or let's say 100%, probably be easier. Is it 100%, 50%, here, here, here? Find where you are. Yeah? My health is somewhere here. And my money is somewhere here. My relationships are somewhere here. I have fun, sort of, depending on the month. my education. Right now, I cannot educate myself anymore. I'm tired of being educated. I'm educating, but not as much. Before it was right here. Love. I think I receive love, maybe not 100%. I give love, maybe not 100%. Job, it's being strange lately, sort of, so I wouldn't say it's 100%, it's like somewhere here. Travel, I definitely travel much less. Like before it was here. Now it's like here. Friends, the old friends are disappearing, the new ones are showing up. So it's not 100%, it's somewhere, let's say here. And some of my kids are doing some amazing things, and some other kids are doing crazy stuff. So let's say it's somewhere here, right? So this is my wheel. Okay, I invite you to create your own wheel. See where you are, how that looks for you. So how's your life wheel looks like? Does that create a bumpy road for you?
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit of that. Do you have a little bit of that I have right here?
Yeah, I got some big ones.
At least mine is an education. Do you have that type of thing here? Do you have the relationship here? Where is the bumpiest place in your life? So as we look today, let's see if this is the wheel that you're using to drive your road. It doesn't look like a flower of life, it looks like a very bumpy ride. As we look into our charts today, I would like for you to remember all those dimensions and see how your script, which is your chart, can be improved or can be released from some of the stuff that you might not need. Like the reason I'm saying my friends are here and not here right now is that if I would keep my old friends around all the time, I'd probably be here with them. Because I get bored and tired when I'm with people who are boring and tired all the time. So some of the friends who are not bored and tired all the time are still around, and I enjoy them a lot. I would love to have all of them to be in that place. Am I gonna fix them?
No.
I could. I tried. I've done some work with that for many years. I've been an organizer of the parties all the time. If you go back to this moment in time, 5 minutes ago, when we were expanding, spinning, becoming big spheres of light, you will understand the concept that you are not that localized consciousness that you think you are. You are actually the field of consciousness. You made a choice to put your attention on this particular physical script that is your body. So just like a director of the movie goes and chooses the script and then hires the actors to keep the script going, this body graph, that chart that you have, is your movie script. So this particular script is perfect for whatever lesson you're learning in this life as a consciousness. So every one of you has the same lesson, different flavor. It's like you go to Baskin and Robbins and they have I don't know how many flavors, 31 or more. Same ice cream, same ingredients, a little bit of a difference. But overall, it's the ice cream. The cherry on top of this ice cream, or the peanut, or whatever else is there, is this. What we have been doing all our life is thinking this is the ice cream, completely missing the rest of it. But the ice cream is this. This is just the cherry on the top. So when you put all your attention on that body, on that, I need this to survive, my body is falling apart, I am not in a good relationship, my ride is bumpy. What's happening is that you're missing the whole ice cream and you're only chewing on a cherry or on that little nut on top of the ice cream. So what I'd like to do is to expand your understanding and really understand that all those centers that we're talking about, the guidance that you have, whether you have it colored or not, you still have all of that. The oneness, the consciousness of humanity, the collective conditioning, the collective consciousness, plus the cosmic consciousness, the creator gods, the super mind, all of that is ice cream that you are. Plus there's a little body, the cherry on the top, that gives you a flavor. So last time we talked about color centers being more of a masculine energy, more of a certainty, consistency, container of that creativity, and open centers being the stages, the doors, through which all the information from other people are coming in, so you can play with it as well. So some of you have more color centers, which means I'm more consistent, I'm more precise, and I know what I want and how I want it, because that's part of my script. Some of us have more white centers, which is I am inconsistent, I'm learning from everybody who's around me, I am connecting to everything, and I'm playing the games that other people want to play with me. So I am this consciousness on a playground, just playing games. I am a reflector, it's called reflector in the system that I'm presenting to you. And I don't have color centers at all. My whole chart is just white, completely white, nothing. So what happens with me, I become you. When I'm with you, I'm Stuart, I'm with Judy, I'm Judy, I'm with Tanya, I'm Tanya. Gary, I'm Gary, Lisa, I'm Lisa, Albert, I'm Albert. My husband, same thing. It took me years, millions of years, this lifetime and other lifetimes, to understand this is me, this is the other person, and I'm just a reflection of that. And before, there is no me, I am that. It really helped me understand a lot of systems and a lot of people, because for me, it's like I'm stepping in your body and I know what's there. I can manifest the symptoms if I want to. If I'm not aware of it, I can manifest the symptoms without wanting it. I'm just like, wow, a person is coughing, I'm coughing 5 minutes later. There is a right knee that's hurting, my right knee will hurt. It was unbelievable. I still do it sometimes, but I'm more conscious about it, so I can really notice. And in a human perception, it's called sympathy. For me, it's not sympathy. It's just my body gets imprinted with whatever is around me, unless I'm conscious. So I want you to become conscious and see that every white center that you have in your body is like me. It's opening to receive the information. It's not open to keep the information. It's not open to say, Albert is me, therefore I'm going to have all that Albert has. Inspiration, pressures, problems, happy moments. What would happen if I would do this? Would I live my own life? No. I'm going to live not self life, which in this case would be called Albert life, or this is life. How many lives do you live at the same time? Right now, in your life. We're going to go back to this chart, green chart. Every place you have a bumpy, falling pit hole on your road, that's the place you live not self-life. This is where you took somebody else's stuff and you said, this is me. I have to be this way in order to be liked, or in order to be on a survival mode, or in order to produce more money, or whatever else is the choice that you're making. But every time you feel that you're falling somewhere, you're falling into nightmare. What we want to do today is awaken. Take you out of that pit hole, from the place where you're not living your own self and you're living somebody else. So, how do we do that? Look at your body graph and tell me what you remember about the pressures. What are the pressures in your body? There are two major pressures. There are more pressures than that, but there are two major pressures that we talked about last time. Everything can be pressured.
Okay.
When you have an open center, right? I am gonna come in and I'm gonna tell you how to live your life. Because you're open, you've invited me, I came in, now I'm gonna tell you how to live your life. Mommy, daddy, teacher, preacher, lovers, husbands, kids, they all employers, bosses. Now the pressure is where? My boss is stressed in the morning. He comes in, looks at me like this, like, we're never gonna be on time, blah, 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 blah. He leaves his pressure in my office. Now I am pressured. We can have pressures everywhere, but there are two major pressure centers. Yes,
I remember.
good job. He remembers, so yes. You are all good students. The reason you don't remember is that it's so obvious. You don't even understand how much pressure you experience through that. So, the head is pressured to make sense, to understand what's up. And it's pressure to respond to inspiration, to respond to all the questions that people ask you, to go into 1,000 different colleges, to receive 1,000 degrees, to always learn. Because there is something I don't know still. This pressure makes us human. There is not an animal in this whole entire planet that has that same pressure. They don't have pressure to make sense of their reality. So how would life look like if you do not have to make sense of what's going on? If you just live in the place of I don't know and I don't care, because I am just experiencing life, I am all that, and this is just my measuring instrument, my body. I just go through life like, oh, that's interesting and that's interesting. That doesn't feel so good. I'm not gonna go this way. That feels better. I'm gonna go this way. But I don't have to identify with it. I don't have to make sense. I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to prove anything. How would it feel like if you have a life like
It
that?
would be joyful and playful, and it would all be fun.
Yeah,
Isn't that what
Playing.
people experience in psychiatric institutions?
exactly. There are people who
They
do
don't
that.
want.
And you have to give them drugs to get them out of that.
Right.
Or to
So,
put them
so
in.
as soon as somebody sees somebody else not caring about making sense of reality, we need to isolate these people, and
Right.
we need to drug them, make sure they do not disturb our knowing about what's right
And what's wrong?
and what's wrong.
And how to operate in between there. Oh my God.
So yes, when you lose your mind, you are in oneness, because you know there is nothing that makes you separate, different, or in a bad place. Actually, if people with mental illnesses would be taken care of on a physical level, there would be no problem. The reason they are institutionalized and drugged is that other people don't want to take care of them. They have their own, inspirations to make sense of reality. So it's all understandable. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying the mind is the machine that wants to make sense of something that cannot be made sense of.
So if you're in your mind, and this is just quoting straight Osho, if you are in your mind, you are not inspired, because your mind needs to make sense of the inspiration, needs to have a dogma and a doctrine to follow the inspiration. So it's not even really inspired. You're like looking in a little bitty lens of what inspiration is.
Right. When you're in your mind, you might be inspired with so many inspirations, you cannot localize yourself to actually act on any one of them. That would make you insane.
Oh my God.
So when you are in your mind, you have my inspiration, your inspiration, Gary's inspiration, Albert's inspiration, everyone's inspiration, And then you go, who am I? What's my inspiration? What do I need? Oh, I need to make sense. I need to prove. I need to learn more in order to act on that inspiration. I don't have enough money for that, and nobody's gonna support me. And if I do go good with that, they will hate me. They will not, be with me because they will think I'm all that, and they're not. So all the stories that we have, that would make us insane, but we think it's sanity, really.
Oh my goodness.
So in order, that crown that we were talking about, in order for us to make sense of reality, that crown center, that oneness that we're talking about, it has to be open. It cannot grab and hold on to something, because that's what creates pressure. I'm gonna grab my husband's dream and I'm gonna do it, but I'm not a climber. I don't want to go to Everest. It's just gonna be too much for me. But it's perfect for him because he's designed, he can go through the wall. This is how he's designed. He can go through anything and he will succeed where other people fail. I'm different. I will fail at some point. So I need to be inspired. I grab his inspiration and go, oh my God, that would be amazing. And I do go to Everest, but I only go to base camp because at that level, I know I'm no longer inspired. From that point on, I cannot sleep, I cannot breathe, and I cannot get warm. So I call him and I say, what do I do? And he says, you do this, this, and this, and you put the hot bottle in your sleeping bag, and you will survive. I'm like, thanks God. So my inspiration just goes up to base camp. It doesn't go to Mount Everest. If I do not recognize that, I would not survive. So the pressure of inspiration and the pressure of survival, the root center,
So all the
are always together. They put your body in a sandwich. Remember we were talking about it. Your soul is stuck between I need to understand who I am and I need to move forward because everybody else is already making this progress in life and I'm not.
So that causes us all our stress, all of our measurements, and then we read more books that causes more stress.
More
and
inspiration.
But it's in between.
Yeah.
Because
So the stress is here because that is the pressure to survive. This is the pressure to make sense. If you don't make sense of your reality, the worst thing, you will end up in mental institution. It's the worst case scenario. That stress is about I'm gonna die. So between I'm insane and I'm gonna die, life is really beautiful. That's what we call sanity. So keep that open, which called open mind. It's good to be open-minded. Then the pressure is not necessarily as big. We always will have pressure. Remember the collective, the soul, I want to move forward, and my soul is eternal, so it's not just this lifetime, it's many lifetimes of pressure of knowing, making sense, and understanding how the density, the three-dimensional part of my life works like. And I need to survive for that, because if I don't, I won't be able to make progress. Right? This is a little part of me, but this wants the progress. So, how do I keep my mind open? Any ideas?
by not thinking.
I don't know anybody who's not thinking. Do you know anybody who's not
Thinking
thinking?
too much.
Thinking too much.
Not open.
Thinking is a process, human process. We cannot really do anything.
Dreaming.
Yeah, dreaming. What's important is to really allow your mind to do whatever it does without grabbing onto any one of the things that are coming and going.
So detachment.
Yeah. But if there is a continuous thought that makes you feel good, that makes you go, wow, my head is opening, the possibilities, my eyes are sparkling. Remember we're talking about awakening. My eyes are open. I see things. Like last 2 weeks, I see numbers. 666, 444, 222, 22, 22. Every time I look at my clock, Yesterday, 333, just before I go to sleep, numbers, right? So I'm like, wow, I am on target. I'm doing something right. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't feel so great lately because there are lots of changes. I actually, like last Wednesday, I thought I'll die. Talking about stress. There was no stress. I was just physically falling apart. I don't remember myself being like that. I couldn't move, headache, no medication or metrics, nothing could help. I was doing metrics, I had a session with the client, I was sitting like that. Because if I wouldn't keep my head like that, I wouldn't be able to talk. That part was falling off. I was like, stay here. It was horrible. Yet, I start seeing all these numbers. I'm like, okay, there's a huge shift that's happening. Thank you very much. I don't need to make sense of it. And I survived. I'm not dying. How can I make myself more comfortable? I'm not asking question why, what, am I gonna survive? I'm not gonna survive. This headache will never go away. None of that. I go, how can I survive? Okay, I can survive like that. So I sit here and I put my elbow on a chair so it looks sort of like I'm singing. And I go through the session like that, intense session. And I finish the session, I'm like, okay. And my other hand is matrixing my head. Like, okay, is it gonna ever go away? Probably not, that's okay. I'm detaching, I'm just moving. And then after the session, I take 2 Tylenols. Nothing. Nothing. So the pressure comes from I'm not gonna survive, and what is it? And when you go into a place, how can I feel better? Takes off the pressure. You don't need to know the future. You don't need to worry about the past. You just worry about this particular moment. How can I make myself more comfortable? And if you keep that question in mind, how do I want to experience myself right now? How can I make myself more comfortable? Then the rest of it will not be as pressured. It's an interesting way of shifting into a present moment. I think it was an alchemical recipe, a story about alchemical recipe. Some big, magus said, you will create this amazing magical elixir, but when you brew it and when you make it, these are all the ingredients, but don't think about monkeys, especially green monkeys. If you do think about monkeys, green monkeys, no, right? So that alchemical recipe could never be brewed, because every time that person went to that was green monkey right there, right? So green monkey is always there. But if you go, how can I mix that mixture so I can feel better about it? Then the green monkey is not as important. Still there, not gonna go anyplace. Right, so between these two centers, we keep ourselves open to the idea that all the ideas are not ours. They just come and go, and therefore, we choose the one that makes you feel best. How would I want to experience myself? How would I want to experience that in the best possible way? And when you find that idea, that's the one to go for. Not the one that your mother said is good for your father or anybody else. How do we get out of here? How do I make myself comfortable right now? What needs to be done right now for me? All right, and then in between these two beautiful pressure centers, we have a couple other things that we talked about last time. So there is this diamond that is called higher self, higher heart. It's the love and direction center. That diamond, that is your sanctuary, pink diamond sanctuary. And there is this other center that's called ego, or material heart. And so this is higher heart. So what we were talking about last time is how these two are connected. I have this inspiration, my heart goes for it, I totally love it. It's amazing, wonderful. I love it. Let's do it. And that is the story. How my heart desires can manifest or not in the material plane. So everything within the body will always be affected by the story and the pressure to survive. So anything your heart desires, any material stories will always have that pressure. So when you look at your body graph, understand that whatever you're learning about it is still being sandwiched right here. So whatever stories you have, you go back to your crown, to your head, to your inspiration, and you ask yourself, is that mine? Is that what I want? Or is the story I'm running because I am all that consciousness? And I am accessing everybody else's collective story, the metaphor of life. My flavor is right here. Do I want to try this flavor for this lifetime? Or do I constantly want to try everybody else's flavor? So there is a difference between being one and knowing everything is available and choosing what's right for you. That's where the pressure stops. The pressure comes from hungriness for adventure. I want it all. I want it all. I want to experience everybody's life, and I want to be successful as this person, and I want to know all the professions, and I want to have all the travels, and everything, education, everything. So the pressure stops when you go, all of that is mine. And I get to choose my flavor. And my flavor is what I keep in my pink sanctuary. That's my flavor.